It all started with a tweet. This story begins with esports. If you do not know, esports teams like to pick up players in order to exchange brand and sponsor exposure for tournament and living support, like travel expenses, so players can go to tournaments, do well, and expose people to their brand. Think NASCAR cars, but the cars are people. William Helt, also known as Leffen, was the new rising star of the Melee world, beating 4 of the 5 gods of Melee, who at the time were considered the best Melee players in the world, hands down. Now, it's a pretty common misconception that the people with the best results get to be the ones who get picked up by esports teams. While it's normally true, the real reason teams pick up players in the first place is to spread the brand in the cheapest and most effective way possible. Teams are businesses after all. Now, when it came to Leffen, he had impressive results. In fact, out of all the tournaments he played in 2014, the only tournament he hadn't made top 8 in was EVO. Unfortunately, here is where the misconception comes into play. With Leffen's record, he should have gotten picked up by a team. All those wins and top 8s would boost anyone into popularity. Popularity he could use for brand exposure. But Leffen had 2 big strikes on him that negated his popularity in the eyes of his teammates. The first being that Leffen is from Sweden, which along with having to deal with visa issues also means having to constantly travel to the US. A very expensive affair due to international travel costs, as the biggest tournaments are all in the US. Now that alone would make it hard for Leffen to find a team, because that team would have to have a lot of money, making the pool already small to begin with. As for big teams that have the money, Leffen ran into the second and even bigger strike. Leffen at that time was a brand risk. Leffen had a history of being awful to his local scene in Sweden. So awful in fact, that the entire country of Sweden would ban him in 2013, after a year warning him to get better in 2012. It must have been bad, because the Swedish TOs went as far as to collect a host of screenshots of Leffen's behavior and started passing around to every tournament that Leffen wanted to go to, in the legendary zip file known only as evidence.zip. So no team wanted Leffen at the time, and Leffen was pretty bitter about it. Leading up to this tweet, the one that would start the gears turning to create the hypest set in Melee history. On October 28, 2014, a month after Melee's second year at EVO, Leffen called out Team Liquid and Team Curse for their picks of sponsored players. Team Liquid would take in Daniel Korean DJ Jong and Kin Huang, while Team Curse would take in Juan Hungrybox Debima and Kashan Chillindude Khan. All with the exception of Hungrybox were all top players in Melee's MLG era, who at that time were being pushed out by younger players who caught up with them in skill and were not getting results as good as Leffen. Now, that being said, they were still household names in Melee. From a business standpoint, they were not bad picks at all. But never mind all that. Chillin wouldn't stand for such disrespect from the young hotshot. So he responded, using the recent results of EVO to back him up. As of that tournament, Chillin and Leffen would tie for 9th, and Hungrybox would get 2nd. Unfortunately for Chillindude, this will not work, and Leffen wouldn't back down. So after a few back and forths of trash talk, a challenge was issued. Apex 2015. There would be a money match. Both players would put up $100 and the rights to the default color of Fox. They had 3 months to prepare. The few months after were pretty uneventful until January 18th, 2015 at Paragon Orlando. After getting third, Leffen will be brought in for an interview about the up-and-coming money match on the 31st.
Chillin.
Alright, well, yeah, Gimmer wants to know what's the set count going to be against Chillin. The people want to know.
I don't need to say anything. Everyone knows what I'm going to say. And it's going to be 5-0. That's how it's going to be. Like, I really wish he would have more of a shot so I could set him up as a goal and I practiced really hard. I wish that was the case. $100 is not a lot of money. But as it is now, $100 compared to a 15,000 or more prize pot, why should I waste my time practicing against him? I'm gonna beat him anyway. He takes a game? Sure, he takes a game. He loses his color by the end of the day anyway. Like, I don't care about Chillin. And maybe in the worst case scenario he wins, but he has no shot at winning Apex whatsoever, and he will probably never have a shot at winning a major, considering how long he's playing and won absolutely nothing. But that's just how it is. I'm happy that you give me the money, but please practice for Apex instead of me, because you're probably gonna lose to another Samus.
To say that Leffen wasn't worried would be a huge understatement. Chillin response released a diss track the day before the money match. I'm not even kidding. I mean, look at this. Finally, the day has arrived. January 31st, 2015. Apex 2015's Salty Suite. A side event dedicated to highly anticipated grudge matches, money matches, and exhibitions. When it was time for Leffen and Chillin's money match, they both got up and exchanged their final words. And then, Melee was shown the greatest beatdown in Melee history. It was hard to watch, and for 5 games, we would see Chillin get freed up by clearly sandbagging Leffen. Leffen never stopped laughing from beginning to end, doing everything he could to show the divide in their skill, taunting, using bad moves, and even giving Chillin a homie stock after a misinput sent him off stage. It was pretty hard to watch. When the final game was done, the score was 5-0. Chillin couldn't take one game. There was no words to say, other than Leffen sarcastically saying, "Respect my elders," and a shocked Chillin saying,
Bobby.
But from the crowd, one man would step up to take the mic. Mango, the people's champ of Melee, would come forward to challenge Leffen, saying if they would meet the main bracket, they would both put $1,000 on the match. Truly, the hero of Melee wouldn't let this villain get away with such a disrespectful 5-0. They would meet in winners semis, and unfortunately, Leffen would beat Mango 3-1. In fact, Leffen would have a great run in Apex 2015. He would beat Mewtwo King 2-1, completing his collection of taking sets off of the 5 gods of Melee, and he would get third after losing to PPMD 2-3 and Armada 1-3. Chillin, however, would get 33rd, losing to Larry Lurr and Zoot, and the rest is pretty much history. Leffen would go on to be one of the best players in Melee history, while Chillin, though not winning as much, still is a household name for Melee, helping out with community background work, like video production, and being one of the co-creators of Super Smash Bros. They would later make up years later, and the VOD for that match would be the most watched VOD in Melee history. Interestingly enough, Chillin would later post on our Smash Wars, saying that it was semi-staged on his part, stating that Hungrybox talked him into turning the line of tweets into a Salty Suite match. He knew he was going to lose going in, and he wanted to add hype to the whole thing. Could it be that he masterminded the whole thing, or was he just making an excuse for getting 5-0? We'll never learn the truth, but if you ask me, it doesn't matter. We got to see one of the craziest events in Melee go down, as well as the birth of one of the longest running Melee memes. Hey, I hope you liked this little slice of FGC history. I plan to do more videos like this along my fighting game origin series. So if you like fighting game history, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. I promise it'll be worth your time.